solid in that last matchup. Moonan starting off good, but ultimately JulyZerg just showing why he is called the God of War. And we have JulyZerg spawning up in the northwest position as the blue Zerg. And of course, he is going up against his red opponent, FXOMoonan, spawning in the southeast. And, you know, Moonan, especially on this map, as we do have cross positions once again, we're just going to be curious to see what he'll do as far as, I'd like to watch the different Terran approaches to how they're going to protect this natural and then ultimately expand out from there as well.
Yeah, you know, I really think that we're probably going to see Moonan go for a 2 racks opening. He might surprise us and go fast gas, but almost any opening is strengthened by placing barracks at this down the hill thin ramp. You can easily secure yourself a fast second base by doing so, and plus even puts pressure on the Zerg with some sort of bunker rush. But of course, all Zergs who have played any games on Shakura's Plateau well aware of that potential threat. JulyZerg will no doubt be prepared.
You know, the other thing that I like a lot of the Terrans doing against their Zerg opponents is, of course, the low ground attacks with the siege tanks at the back of the base. We do have the racks going up now at the front of Moonan's base. Meanwhile, we still see nothing out of July there. The drone's going to go out and drop the hatchery right away on, well, no, he's not. He's going to go out and scout. The next one will come out and drop the hatchery right away. And July will open in the same fashion they did in game number 1.
So we are seeing a fast gas opening by Moonan. This looks a little bit unusual, but knowing Moonan, he has a ton of different builds that he does. You know, people tend to accuse the mass laddering players of being the people who have a build in each matchup. And because I'm always playing a new opponent on the ladder, they'll never be, you know, able to predict this build that I'm always doing. But Moonan is the exact opposite. He seems to just dabble in every Terran style that he sees. He's done Blue Flame Hellion drops in all 3 matchups at major tournaments, Fast Cloak Banshees, sometimes Mech, sometimes Marine Marauder, doing a huge variety. So I would not be surprised to see anything orthodox or unorthodox out of Moonan. In other words, I wouldn't be surprised to see him play Terran this game, Lee.
Well, a lot of utility those Terrans have and a lot of options and choices that they have. JulyZerg trying to keep this drone alive. Marine is on the hunt. He's going to get himself into a corner, and you're not getting away. He goes down. No problem. Now, the factory's going to go down, so we are going to see an add-on based off the positioning of this barracks, and it is going to be reactor. So we'll open in a similar fashion to what he did in the last game. See if he can go ahead and do some damage with the Hellions, as they'll have the swap on the factory and the racks. And one of the big questions, you know, is that it's a little bit tougher for those Hellions to sneak in here and do the damage that they want. It's not like Metalopolis where you have the more open natural. It's not like Xel'Naga where you have that more open natural. So it could be a little bit more of a challenge, but it also depends on what JulyZerg is doing early on in the game.
Looks like JulyZerg opting for 2 very fast queens, typical standard play if you feel like you're not going to be under a lot of pressure. 2 queens, you almost always think, oh cool, that lets me go into macro mode. No big deal. I'll be adding on as much larva as I can with that inject larva spell from the queen. However, you need a ton of drones to be able to support the fact that you're getting 8 extra larvae at a time, and a lot of younger Zerg players, a lot of newer Zerg players are not used to how much money they actually need in order to utilize that add extra larva. So we're even seeing July use his first queen energy to begin spreading creep, partly because that's good, but mainly because he just can't even afford to keep up with that kind of production.
Yeah, I mean, typically you get the eject, and it looks like that's what he'll do in the main. Eventually he'll want to drop a tumor there to connect the 2, or just let the queen at the natural do that as well. JulyZerg gets that spine crawler up and will manage to move it to the front of his base. The Hellions are moving out right now across the base, and that's going to be a great positioning there with that spine crawler. It will get at least 1 free hit as they come up, and there's the first one. Now, is that immediately going to cause Moonan to just pull back? He did stop the production of the Hellions. Not sure if he's got 2 more coming out. Nope, he just stopped completely, put the racks back on the reactor, getting tanks now. So he didn't really overcommit. Oh, he stops that creep tumor, and there goes 25 energy down the drain.
This is one of the versatility aspects of going for double Hellion. you can stop the Hellion production at any point in transition, and often Zergs have to overcompensate. JulyZerg made Zerglings that would be prepared to deal with 4 or 6 Hellions, but we see only 2 here. And Zerg has no way of figuring out how many Hellions could possibly be hiding. So Moonan's going to utilize this time opportunity to get 3 orbital commands. We saw a scan go down in the main, July having a very fast layer. So right now Moonan is going to be going for a very delayed attack, but it's going to be a lot stronger with the use of that 3rd set of mules.
Lings are going to go after the Hellions and make their way beeline over to his opponent's base, and that orbital command is down. Currently producing SCVs. We do see SCVs transferring over. These Zerglings are going to go ahead and catch them, but they will only get 1 or 2 kills before they move back. The Hellions come in to help out, and he might be able to pick off one of these if he can get a full surround there. One does go down, and he will not sacrifice any more units. Spire is in production as for JulyZerg, and Moonan currently getting his siege on the siege tanks, adding some more racks here, and putting a bunker at the top of his ramp.
Now, JulyZerg has looked very, very defense-focused early on. He blocked those Hellions. He managed to do a little run-around action, delay any plan that Moonan had in store, but we're seeing no 3rd base from Zerg coming up, and with this very early 3rd orbital command, this means that Moonan is going to have a much stronger army, and JulyZerg really needs the resources of a 3rd base to be able to keep up with that. Otherwise, Moonan can just continually trade armies with Zerg until Zerg runs out of money.
We do have that 3rd going down that you've been asking JulyZerg, almost begging him to put down, and he does get it down. Creep is spreading out quite nicely here for July. He doesn't have Creep connecting his main and his natural, but we're starting to see now all the upgrades come out for the Terran that they typically want, at least starting with Stim as well. And we get more Creep tumors on the front. We can see 4 across there. Coming up through the front, the Lings do continue to just try to hold on to some map control as the unit production of Moonan is just really kind of picking up as he adds more racks to his main base.
We see the Mutalisks now popping out for July, starting to gather them together. 6 more in production. Only 5 out right now, but still going to go ahead and sprint right on over to try to do a little bit of damage. 2 more barracks being added on by Moonan, also getting a starport to be able to begin medevac production, getting that early +1. And we see Moonan actually going to go try to take a 3rd base relatively quickly, but it looks like he's actually just running away from those Mutalisks with the orbital command, and will be relatively fine against this Muta attack.
Yeah, 5 Mutas out. This is that key moment where you want to be watching these and make sure that you do not let any of them die. He does have 6 more out on the field, which he'll be bringing to this pack as well. More missile turrets going down, and there is the hit on the refinery, which will hit those SCVs. Going to move forward. It kind of baited into that one, but quickly responds by moving back as Marines get into position. +1 is on the way for those Mutas, as well as infantry level 1 for the Terran.
Exploring around Zerg's bases, we see there's that +2 attack. There's that +1 from the Mutalisks. A little bit more Muta-Marine trading going on. A few too many tanks from Moonan and not enough Marines. Where is the Marine backup? All stuck in the main. Stim is not quite done yet. Loses 1 tank. Little bit of a relief for Moonan there, that he is going to finally be able to start dealing with those Mutalisks a little bit more easily, but we still haven't seen this 3rd go up. The orbital command is actually just hiding in the main. And this is the one problem with nice harassment. This turret is going to serve no purpose in a little bit. Once this orbital command gets taken, this turret is going to have hardly any use at all. That's one example of how this aggressive play by July is putting Terran under pressure and also forcing him to waste resources.
And responding to things, July is going to throw down a 4th base. So we have Mutas moving in yet again, trying to pick off some of those Marines that are away from the rest of the army. A lot of tanks there compounded and not really spread out, so even hitting like the bottom 3 of those tanks could result in hits on all 3. More Mutas are coming out for JulyZerg, currently up to 18 right now, and more Lings being produced as well. +2 air weapons very quickly, and +2 melee going down, while combat shields about to complete here for the Terran.
Small numbers of Marines keep getting caught off guard, and Moonan trying to do his best to repel these mules, but the numbers keep on climbing. This one turret, again, a useless turret, getting taken down. Moonan's main now completely vulnerable. JulyZerg exploiting this long walk distance. The Marines trying to sprint back, but July is just ripping Moonan apart, punishing Moonan for trying to do this greedy 3-base build. And thus far, Moonan, kills his own extractor.
Whoa, accident there, accident. And you know what else? Forcing the stem. He's going to get another set of Marines off, and more mutas are coming in, but he's doing a ton of damage right now to the economy. Again, he's going to start running out of Marines as his concentration is getting smaller and smaller. And there we have more just getting taken out eventually. These tanks, unfortunately, they cannot shoot up, so he's getting rid of these Marines, and he will have open access to all those tanks, but having some very low mutas, he does decide to back off just a little bit. And you know that stim that JulyZerg causes his opponent to do happened right before that combat shield finishes up, and so a lot of help lost there on those Marines trying to save those SCBs at the main. Meanwhile, the amount of bases that JulyZerg is getting up to real quickly looks like he wants to just choke his opponent out in this matchup.
I just cannot believe how good July is with these Mutalisks, now having a huge number, 21 Mutalisks out on the field right now, and about another 10 has even died throughout the process of this harassment, but July does not care. He will pick off any SCB that is around. He will try to isolate any number of Marines. Now moving over to the vulnerable right side, all these buildings actually walling off this backside. He could get the engineering base, the starports, the reactors, all these essential structures. This Thor needs to do some big damage fast.
And there we go, he's going after the reactor. He'll just go ahead and let it burn, but he sees the Thor coming out, and that is one of the most impressive things about JulyZerg. It's just so easy to go, let me just go ahead and finish that off. Let me go ahead and take out this building. But we do have a drop over here at the 5th, just a single a drop ship, medevac, full of Marines. Here we'll have some Lynx come in to try to take care of that. Almost too many Lynx come in there, but they will chase away that medevac, no problems. Meanwhile, these mutas just continue to harass in the front.
It looks like Moonan trying to do a little bit of damage with a couple of Marines, but you got to be so careful when the Mutalist count is that high. You almost need your entire army of Marines to deal with those Mutalists, and because they're mobile and fast, they can easily begin picking off small numbers, and even at the end of the day, once you feel like you're in good shape and you've held off the Mutalists, you remember, oh yeah, JulyZerg has incredible macro. Look at that number of Banelings and Zerglings out in the center.
Yeah, he hasn't even had to utilize it. Picks off a medevac, takes one hit from the Thor, will take a second hit, gets a little bit of damage done on some Marines, and not even sure if his opponent is aware of this massive army that's sitting right outside the natural. Mutalisks continue to go in, but his numbers are dropping a little bit, being a little bit, I guess, riskier than he was early on, but considering the amount of damage that he had already done, another drop here, just going to take out that southwest expansion while it is building up. He's going to go ahead and not let it complete. Just going to try to force a cancel and get it finished.
Mutalisk numbers a little bit lower, probably the lowest they've been all game. Never mind, July replenishing all the way back to 20. Will he get the hatch? He's extremely close. No, he doesn't get it. Gets it down to about 35 health. But 35 is still above 0, so JulyZerg going to get that base up, continue to do some harassment, and here comes a very classic Moonan-esque harassment attack up at this top side. Now that he knows the Mutalisks are down in the south, look at the low health on all of these Marines. Going to have to be careful. Stims again, loads up, but these Mutalisks in the back are going to take out the main.
Yeah, and then this additional drop here in the main. Took out every single drone that was there. Now focus firing the lair, which is morphing into a hive right now. And the mutas eventually going to make their way over. Actually, I don't see the mutas. They went back out for an attack. And yeah, they're inside the main base of his opponent doing some damage here. That drop is going to be stopped as well. And wow, I mean, the amount of damage that's being done here by these mutas is he is really stretching Moonan's army thin.
Now he's heading towards the natural expansion. All the tanks that Moonan's been using as his last line defense all game long, completely free and open. We even see more drops by Moonan. I mean, Moonan having great tactical knowledge of where these units are going to be from July, but July, God of War, is going to have an infinite amount of units. Look at that number of Banelings rolling in. July going for the jugular right now. No Banelings have even made contact, and Moonan, GG's, JulyZerg, doing the Morrow thing, doing the Idra thing. making Zerg look so strong when played correctly. And it's funny to think that the way Moonan played that series is the way you see all good Terrans exploit Zerg. Are the mules at that side of the map, or are they going to drop the other one, trying to hit Zerg in as many places at once as you can? But July was just stuck at 200 food with a ton of money in the bank. There was nothing that Moonan could do.
It's the reason why that guy is a Golden Mouse winner.
I know,
and
so
you know,
good.
I mean, he really does look playing at his best.